Right. Well, I mean, of course, in the chaos of a situation, you're going to resort to fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, right? That's just biology working for our survival, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, you're going to have a quiet moment to reflect. And that's what that quote is for, is when you have the time to engage the cerebral cortex, the thinking brain, the ability to reflect and digest what's been going on.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today we're joined by Lannette West, a remarkable single mother and reality TV star from North Carolina. After captivating audiences on MILF Manor, Lannette has become a voice for those navigating the complexities of addiction recovery and mental health, sharing her journey with honesty and grace. Let's dive into Lannette's world and discover the wisdom that has inspired her along the way. Tell us your name and what you do.
Hi, my name is Lannette West. I work in IT, and I guess I'm most known though for a reality show that I did for TLC called MILF Manor.
Okay, thank you for accepting my invitation to be on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what's your favorite quote?
Well, a quote that I live by, or at least I try to remember, especially in those darkest of moments, is "This too shall pass." And I think a lot of times we get bogged down in the details of something and it feels like overwhelming and as if it's not going to ever pass or end. And sometimes I have to remind myself, even the good stuff, that too passes. Everything is constantly evolving and changing. So when you're in those darkest of dark moments and it feels like it's never going to stop, that there is no hope, that the light is gone, you have to be reminded that this too shall pass, just like everything else. You're not always going to feel that way.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. What's the backstory to this quote? Why do you think it resonates deeply with you?
Well, it resonates with me because I've struggled with mental health issues most of my life, at least from my teenage years on. I'm currently 52, so that's a lot of years under my belt. And I've had episodes where I've become acutely depressed. I was diagnosed with bipolar 2, as well as major depressive disorder. And in those darkest of dark moments when I just feel like I don't want to go on anymore, that I'm a burden, that I'm broken, I'm damaged, that I'm not benefiting anybody by being here, I will sort of sit back and that will come to me of Lynette, this too shall pass. Don't make a permanent decision for a temporary situation. And it was kind of funny, haha. I heard someone explain this. I can't take credit for this analogy, but it's as if you're out drinking and you drink too much. Perhaps you're pretty intoxicated. You don't freak out and think, oh my God, I'm going to be drunk forever. Right? You know that eventually you're gonna sober up, and this too shall pass. And it's like we have to remember that when our brains are tricking us into thinking it's a different reality, it's a different set of circumstances. And it's hard sometimes to reflect like that. It's hard to come out of those darkest of moments. But I would just challenge people. I wanna get it tattooed on my forearm, frankly, because it's that meaningful to me, and it's something that I need to be reminded of. Again, not just in the darkest of dark moments, but also in those joyous moments. You need to relish them, you need to be present with them, you need to enjoy them, for they too will pass, and it's just kind of a good thing to remember that nothing is permanent, the good stuff or the bad stuff.
This too shall pass. This too shall pass. This too shall. Yeah. It's one of those things where you just look at the situation, the circumstance, you take a deep breath, you breathe in and you breathe out, and you just say, "This too shall pass." That itself,
Mhm.
it's certain that this too shall pass. When exactly we don't
Yep.
know, but we know that eventually it will pass. Now,
And I think that just thinking about it kind of brings you back to the moment. And so you're not so overwhelmed with the big picture and the emotion of it all. It kind of recenters you, or at least I hope it does.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know that, from the explanation you gave and the story, your own personal story you shared. Thank you for doing that. A lot of my listeners would resonate with that story. Yeah, that's what the podcast is all about. The quote, "This too shall pass," right? I heard of it as an anecdote, right? One time, and I don't know, it's a made up story. I don't know if it's made up. I don't know if it's real, but it's kind of one of those stories that helps to illustrate the value of a quote or an idea, right? And it's this too shall pass, because there was this time the let's just call it the King Solomon, and he was like, I need something, I need you to make me something that every time I look at that thing, when I am happy, it will make me sad, and when I'm sad, it will make me happy. And then the servant was like, okay, yeah, I'll look for something. And he was like, okay, what do I make for him? What do I make for him? And then he made a ring, and that with the ring had the inscriptions, "This too shall pass." And so when things are happy, when he felt like he was like, he was, it's not like being happy is bad or anything, there's anything wrong with that. But there are times when we are like too full of ourselves, too proud and pompous because of one thing that we probably had. Maybe you happen to have a car, you're the only one who has a car in the community, right? You're like so pompous that, and then you look at it and just realize that this too shall pass. And I know a lot of persons will say, well, I'm supposed to celebrate my moments and all that, but it puts things in perspective and realize that, okay, what am I making of this opportunity? Because this
Mm,
will eventually pass. Then, of course, in the bad moments, you're like, oh yeah, things are going bad, and then you realize that this too shall pass.
absolutely. That's a really good story.
Oh, this too shall pass. Earlier on, you did mention a quote before I turned on the recording, and that
Hmm.
was life is too short to be unhappy. Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think I reflect on that just to remind myself to do the things that bring you joy. And now, of course, you got to go to work, you got to do things that you don't necessarily want to do all the time, but it doesn't mean you have to suffer through them. You can make the best of them. But I think we often take so much for granted, just our existence, just being here, being healthy, being able to get around. We take all of that for granted, and it's really a gift to be alive, and that kinda helps me remember, we need to celebrate. We need to be happy that we're just here. It's so short, the time that we're here. It's so fleeting, and nobody knows when their end is coming, and or well, some do, and maybe that's a gift in and of itself, but, it's just important to be reminded that we should relish the moments that we have while we're here.
Yeah, yeah. I think I saw one quote one time, and it is that we spend so much time thinking about the past, hoping for the
Mm,
future, and we don't even do anything or make anything of the present. And so eventually what
mhm,
happens is that we get to this future we've hoped for, which is the present, right? And then we're never in the present basically. So we're either in the past or the future. And so we end up not living life. And we're always wishing that we made use of past time and past time and past time, and not knowing that thing that we are doing is the exact thing that made us lose past time.
mhm, I agree. That's important.
Yeah.
I also like to say life's too short to drive a shitty car, but I also recognize that that is incredibly materialistic and short-sighted on my part.
Yeah. Yeah, this too shall pass, and life is too short to be unhappy. And for me, the too shall pass. It's the thing is that when the things are actually happening, if you can even remember the quote in the first place,
Mhm,
I think it's really difficult, because there's this, sometimes the chaos is so much, you're so like overwhelmed in it that it's as if all the things, sometimes you forget all the things that all the good things, all the encouraging words, all those things you knew, and all you could just think of is the problem. It's like when a deep, dark, big, bold, scary figure is standing really, really close to you, and they're like touching your nose, and at that point in time, all you can see is just that figure, nothing else.
right. Well, I mean, of course, in the chaos of a situation, you're gonna resort to fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. right? That's just biology working for our survival, right?
Yeah.
But eventually you're gonna have a quiet moment to reflect, and that's what that quote is for, is when you have the time to engage the cerebral cortex, the thinking brain, the ability to reflect and digest what's been going on, that is when you need to reflect on that. And I'm thinking about getting it tattooed on my forearm, like on the inside of my forearm, because like you said, sometimes you lose sight of it. That's why I have things written on my mirror, to remind me, because I don't want these messages to get lost. And this too shall pass is a really important one that I do lose sight of sometimes, unfortunately. But I haven't completely lost sight of it because I'm still here. But I'm serious. I think I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll do that for my birthday next year or something.
Wow. When was it? When was your birthday?
It'll be in March. So I just missed it. I just turned 52 in March.
Wow, congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Wow.
you.
That's great. Next year will be that's fantastic. Yeah, I'll reach out and say, hi, hello, where are you calling from? They're like, yeah, I'm at your doorstep. Yeah. I heard the party is happening in is it like really? Yeah, like I'm like, no, that's not true. I'm like, is your number not so and so? And you're like, yeah, yeah. I'll eat and eat as much as I can no longer eat, and then that's the only time I'll live there. I know you're capable. You can feed me until I can no longer eat.
Okay. You're in trouble though, because I don't cook. I know.
No, you're just saying that you're saying that so you can scare me. I will not be scared.
No,
Uh,
seriously, I don't have that skill. I mean, I can cook some things, but it's not something I enjoy at all. Isn't that terrible? I know. What
my
am I
my
saying?
goal is that let the food be made available. Whether you the one who cook
Mm,
it, whether it's a chef who cooks it, whether it's from a restaurant, I don't really care.
okay.
As long as the food is good and it's available
Yes.
for me to eat, and that's what I'm really interested in. Wow, this too shall pass, and
Okay.
life is too short to be unhappy. Life is too
Mhm.
short to be unhappy. This too shall pass. Thank you so much, Lannette, like, for just like sharing this quote with me and just reminding
Sure.
me that, this too shall pass. Now, if this quote, this too shall pass, if it's like, how in drugs, they would have certain side effects and then they would add some warnings that, oh, if you are, there are certain drugs that they would advise and warn people that have what's the word? I'm saying cancer, not cancer. Pregnant women, they're not supposed to take those drugs because for some
Mhm.
reasons it might affect with the kid. It might also affect the ulcer and all that. And so if this quote had a disclaimer like that, this too shall pass. What are the advice or
Mm.
the warnings that if you have this, it would lead to this or stuff like that. So like, don't use this, don't use that. Of course, it's not like the quote is bad, but it's just like drugs, right? The drugs are good, but you have to like warn people of these other potential side effects and all that.
Well, the side effect is hope. Whether it's hope for good stuff or bad stuff, it's still hope.
Uh,
I'm not sure if you can really come up. I mean, the downside would be even the best of experiences will pass too. So don't get bummed out because you're so happy right now, but you're reminded, well, this too shall pass. I mean, it's equally applicable to the good times and the bad times.
wow, that was aptly said. One of the
Mhm.
side effects is that keep in mind that as much as we've been saying so far that, oh, when I look at the terrible situations and all dark moments, this too shall pass. It also applies to the good moments. So when you're supposed to like be, yeah, like, yeah, this too shall pass.
Unfortunately, but that's true.
Yeah. And that's true. That's true. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Thank you so much, Lannette, for sharing your favorite quotes. And at the beginning of the episode, you did mention what you did. Can you tell us again what do you do?
Yeah, I'm an accounts manager for a data storage company. I work in the public sector, which is like FedGov space. So my customers are some of the largest federal agencies. And I also have some SLED accounts, which are state local education accounts, smaller accounts. And I just take care of the customer and make sure their data storage needs are met and their expectations are exceeded.
Everything you said, I understand. It's like it's over my head. Like I don't. How do I explain this to you? Every one of the words you said out of your mouth, I know the meaning of every one of those words. For some reason, I'm just confused. I'm still asking myself, what exactly do you do? Because I'm trying to wrap my head around
Right.
this. I'm like, okay, so what exactly is that? So can you just speak? Can you speak? What's the word? Can you speak? 3-year-old do the da.
Yeah. Well, okay. Think of data storage. Think of companies like Apple and Facebook and Bank of America. they've got to have somewhere to store all of this data. Well, our company sells the hardware, like the boxes, as well as the software, which is like the brains, to handle all of that data
Okay.
because it's got to go somewhere.
Okay.
And they're putting it in the cloud, which just means it's in an offsite data center somewhere.
Okay.
Means the customer doesn't have to take care of their stuff anymore. We're taking care of their stuff in the cloud.
Okay. Yeah, it all makes sense. I still wonder why they use the word the cloud. Because a lot of persons they tell,
Really?
well, it has been uploaded to the cloud. And it's like, oh, hope it's not because of the weather, that's why stuff is not uploading well or downloading well. And I'm like,
Right.
really? Who came up with that name cloud? Like I need to sit him down or her, or whoever the person might be and say, young man, why did you do that? Cloud. What are the names? Couldn't say remote site, remote location, cloud. Why cloud?
I don't know. They had to find something marketable,
Okay.
something they could play with.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Where can we learn
You're
more
welcome.
about you and what you do?
Do what? I'm sorry.
Where can we learn more about you and the company?
Well, you can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm Lannette, Lannette.West on Instagram and Lannette West on LinkedIn.
Okay. Okay. Do you have a website?
No, I don't. I just stick to social media. I'm not that official yet. I did buy my domain name, though. I bought Lannette.West just to hold it, just in case. Or
Wow.
I'm sorry, it's LanetteWest.com.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Lannette West. Like you could actually get the domain extension dot west. I mean, that would be nice.
I don't know. I have to look. I'll have to look for that and
Yeah.
play around with it.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lannette. It's been
You're
an absolute
welcome.
delight chatting with you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. 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 So you can check out. Why do I always want to say the word check? Okay. I'm glad that I did not allow that to come out. You can learn more about Lanette and what's some of the adventures she's working on Instagram and LinkedIn, and they would all be added to the show notes and description, so you can search for her on the platforms or just use the links in the show notes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lanette.
Thank you.
Yeah. You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.